I'm Tisa, and this is a Teatimelapse. Back in early April, Taijiro released a Taijiro Direct. It was a teaser of what's to come in Taijiro Season 2 to help tide over especially non-patrons until the end of the hiatus, which by the time this video leaves early access, that hiatus should probably be over. But it introduced the corporate antagonist of Season 2, Fangchi Corporation, as well as some antagonistic characters like Ginseng. The community has been having a lot of fun hating on Ginseng and Fangchi Corporation in the Discord server while we wait for the hiatus to end. Some certain individuals had been posting images of Ginseng every day, and everyone was reacting by throwing tomato emojis at him. And so I asked the community, if I were to draw Ginseng, is there a pose or expression that you would want me to draw him in? Multiple responses boiled down to Ginseng getting his butt kicked. But J. Coops came to me with the trade offer meme as a suggestion, and I just had to. I liked that it would give the community the opportunity to add their own text. So far in the Season 1 streams, Taijiro has been a part-time employee of the Jiro Mart kiosk at Jiro Square Station. And in Season 2, he has quit his job and Ginseng has been hired in his place. The thing is, Taijiro quit Jiro Mart for ethical reasons because it's been taken over by Fangchi Corporation. So we don't think very highly of people who are happy to work for the minimalist capitalist Fangchi Corporation that is taking over Basa City and driving all the ma and pop shops out of business. And for the meme redraw, it made the most sense to place Ginseng at the Jiro Mart kiosk, which is now very minimalist and corporate. I was kind of just having fun and turning off my brain when drawing these curls, and ended up realizing that I didn't want to put this much detail in the hair. So I ended up deleting all this and redrawing it. Also, sorry if you hear someone rustling around in their crate. Hi, Markle. I got Markle since the last voiceover. Markle is my puppy. Markle. We've had him for a month now. I've had to completely recenter my life around him, of course. Several months longer than that by the time this leaves early access, though. The first month of having him, I did virtually no art. I was really just focused on figuring out how to navigate him with my chronic illness, myalgic encephalomyelitis, or ME/CFS. I'd actually like to do some shorts about ME/CFS. It was just too much to get them done during ME Awareness Week with Markle and my ME/CFS. Maybe I'll have done those and released them by the time this video leaves early access. But my dad and I have already been able to pick up on a slight change in Markle's behavior as he's getting older. With June, I'm just going to try to figure out how to balance all three things of Markle, my chronic illness, and art. I just want to make sure that he's getting enough activity, both physical and mental. But I have confidence in my ability to figure this out and to balance it all. I am kind of glad that getting Markle happened while Taijiro is on hiatus, so that when Taijiro comes back, I have the bandwidth to fangirl over his work as I want to. After I drew Ginseng, someone responded to it on the Discord with, "You can't make me like him by drawing him cool." I wasn't trying to draw him cool. This is just how I draw people. But thanks, I guess. I don't know, I still think he looks like a smug jerk. There are some NPCs that Taijiro has shared with the patrons that I am excited about. I totally forgot to sign this when I first shared it to the Discord. Here's the final piece. part of me is like, oh, I could have done such a better job on drawing this, but I was trying deliberately to keep them really brief and just get them out, to have them be funny memes. They don't need to be super well drawn. Okay, so this one's gonna take some additional explaining. In addition to Taijiro's canon characters that exist in Basa City, there are a range of community-written characters that are sent into him as if they are in-universe letters. You may recall me drawing Taijiro. That's one of these kind of characters. Another character that is like this, who is actually vouched for Taijiro's existence, is the sneaky shoplifting spirit, also known as Pocket. So all we know about Pocket's physicality is that he resembles a raccoon, and that he is a spirit or creature as opposed to a human. And that's it, that's all I had to go off of, and I really didn't want to spend weeks working on this design. I just kind of wanted to get something that worked and then make the meme. If I come up with any cool ideas I want to implement in the future, I'll probably revisit the design. But initially I had wanted to give Pocket all of these objects he uses to steal stuff, all these things that are kind of Basa City themed, and then completely forgot that I was going to do that as I continued to concept Pocket's appearance. But I would love to revisit that at some point to detail all of the equipment and how they're Basa City themed wherever they can be. I think he'd carry around some of the gear inside gachai capsules, but other ones they would just be loose and kind of stuck in his bindle. I kind of wanted to do something interesting with Pocket's design and just really couldn't come up with anything. I considered adding plant elements, adding smoke elements. I don't know, nothing was really working for me, so I just kind of went, I'll keep it simple, but maybe I'll play around with what the shape of the body is. But when I considered this like chubbier body, it was coming across more bear, and I wanted it to come across more raccoon. If I wanted to design something for T-Set's cottage that was raccoon-like, I would probably utilize more of the actual anatomy of the real animal. But Taijiro's creatures are more stylized than that, so I wanted to make him more cartoonish, a little Pokemon-esque. He still ends up looking very much something drawn by me, but that's inevitable unless I've worked really hard to avoid something looking like it's drawn by me. And I mean, that's part of the fun of designing something, is having your art style come through it. It's not like I'm being paid to strictly emulate Taijiro's style. Honestly, understanding someone else's style enough that you can design new characters to be accurate reflections of that style is challenging and quite an achievement. I did try to keep Pocket's design quite easy to draw, and I wanted to make sure that I understood his head at different angles, and so I did these alternative expressions to explore those angles, as well as how his mouth would appear in different expressions. Sometimes for human faces, but certainly I find with faces that have muzzles, drawing a bisection line down the middle of the face, you know, through the middle of the forehead, down over the nose, to the tip of the nose, and over, and so on and so forth. I find that that can be quite helpful for figuring out how to turn the face and get the shapes consistent. When characters have this cone head or this like curved teardrop kind of head, it can be very helpful. I only say this in case someone else is trying to draw Pocket and finds the like curved teardrop face kind of difficult to turn at different angles. If you're trying to draw him and you're struggling with that, it might be helpful. Maybe it'll work for you. I initially wasn't sure if I wanted him to be green like Jiro Basa is going to be in season 2. I figured I could make him deliberately blend into the background to be sneaky, but then I had the idea that maybe he could turn partially invisible. So I wanted to do a little drawing exploring how that would look. Oh my god, I've been recording with my laptop's built-in microphone instead of my actual microphone, because I forgot to plug my actual microphone in. And that means I did it twice, because I've recorded the previous chunk of the voiceover over the course of 2 separate days. I don't know if I should say luckily the built-in microphone is fairly good because I have a Mac, or if that's unfortunate because if it was bad then I would have noticed and fixed this. Oh well, I'm not re-recording all of that. Once I get better at balancing Markle and my art again, I will probably finally make my new PNG tuber model. It will be a lot of work though, because I really want her to have multiple emotion toggles and at the very least some like mouth flap animation. But anytime I want to make a new model, it ends up being very intense for me. A lot of it is that if I don't do everything in one go, I have in the past had difficulty getting the style to look completely consistent. So I end up just trying to draw like everything successively, and it gets quite intense. And during my last one I really was like kind of burning out at the end, but I really wanted to get it done and I pushed through. But I'm probably going to need to pace myself more with this upcoming one. But here is what I've landed on for now with my pocket design. Since I ended up deciding that he can turn partly invisible, I made his normal coloration be something that would contrast against Basa's palette a bit more. And now that I have a working design for Pocket, I can redraw the meme I wanted to redraw, which is the "it's always morally correct" meme, which is generally used to talk about Adobe. I just thought it would be a very appropriate meme for a character known for stealing to talk about a corporation that we don't think so highly of. I mean, you probably shouldn't think highly of any corporation, but one that artists feel particularly bitter about, specifically because the programs are often industry standard, so you often need access to the program to work on certain jobs. It's really annoying because there's actually a lot of alternatives that are very good out right now. I remember being in college and Adobe pivoting to a subscription model and how upset everyone was. And then they had to get into Gen AI slop. It's just gotten worse. Back to the art at hand though, I initially wasn't sure if I wanted to draw Pocket in Prince's jacket, but I ended up deciding that I wanted to go with his usual look with his bindle instead. I do not feel like I got his face right here, and I wish I had tinkered with it more, but it's serviceable. He looks so grumpy here. And now it's time for color. The original meme has some like green and discoloration from being green screened, and I tried to bring some of that into the piece. And here is the final meme. Thank you so much for watching, and a special thank you to all of my patrons. For $2 a month, you get 2 months early access to all of my Teatimelapse videos.